Oh, thank you, bro. Thank you. Dude, I was singing and everything. I was singing and everything. Uh, what's up, Bodie? Good morning, man. I was asking you what you thought about CRKN, but as we both can see that it's popping up. Why is it? How are you, Sue? Happy Friday. Um, yeah, Sue. I was telling you, I was like, oh, I hope you enjoyed your day of nature. How's your evening going? Man, man, I was like singing and everything. This is weird. I don't want to like repeat it. Oh, why is the Kraken chart acting so weird right now? That's weird. Hmm. I got my cup of coffee. Got me some water. It's gonna be a good day today, guys. Interestingly enough, let's take a quick look. So we have oil futures popping up here. Treasuries today are moving up, which is a decent indication. The dollar does not stop. It is running into a bit of a resistance, so we do have to keep an eye out on that. The SPY popped up today. Now, to be fair, it's one of the most bearish candles I've ever seen on the SPY yesterday. One of the most bearish candles. I don't you in order to fully recover off of that, you probably need to spend just a couple of days even. Hold up. Yeah, so why is my okay, there we go. It's like why are you auto this is so weird. I don't know what's going on with this chart and cracking here, but by the way, oh wow, yeah, 1 minute to open. Let's ride. Let's get ready for it. BRSH not doing very well. Kind of expected that to go down. Okay, let's take a look. I have a feeling the SPY is going to get brutally slaughtered today. I have this weird feeling. Okay, market's open. Let's see if I can finally. Okay, they don't want me to look at Kraken on the 5 minute for some reason. TTOO did pop up to 444. Kind of came back down. Kraken still moving up higher here. VFS. Oh my lord. Look at this. 58. Came all the way back down. Traded sideways. Popped up here in the pre-market. Let's take a look. What else? GNS popped up a little bit. CDU is up 3%. No one really cares. VFS, we're chilling. We already have Kraken up. We already have VFS up. TTO, just leave TTO up. But let's take a look at the SPY today. How much do you want to bet the SPY is going down? Oh, well, the SPY's popping up. Interesting. Good luck, chaps. All right, let's see. What do I want to see today? I don't really know. I feel like the further we go, like we're entering into this sort of downwards trend in the market. People are kind of exiting. We still have our day trades in throughout the day, you know. Just there's no. I don't get a warm fuzzy feeling that much anymore when it comes to the market. Not that I'm like tired of trading. It's just like, give me something to hold on to, man. What is this? Like I'm like the SPY is being a little bipolar, like one of the worst girlfriends you could possibly have. It's a whole mess out here. Yeah, crack like what? Kraken won't even show me the 5-minute chart, so I can go to 2-minute chart. 2-minute chart looks interesting. TTOO. I don't really know. Yeah, that rhymed. PBR taking a bit of a hit here at the open. No real surprise. Probably gonna have to retest. Man, I hit 15. Stay up there. NVIDIA just getting dropped at the open. Nobody cares. I figure. Well, we got Jay Powell speaking today. That's it. Your boy Jay Powell. GME's up a bit. Ah, okay. Get out of here. Okay. I am still confident in. Oh, GNS is up 10% here. Okay, where's GME at? Hello, GME. There we go. Better. Better.com. I saw people talking about this. And this is another one. Why can't I look at the 5-minute? It's just being real. Yeah, it's a heavy drop here. Let me look at it. Wait, what? How did it go from 17 all the way down to 1? Yo, Sarah, what's up, bro? Why did Better go all the way? Bodie, you got give me a little bit of. Oh, it's a mortgage lender. Yeah, no crap, this is going down. What are you talking about? Send this boy right back to the shadow realm where it belongs. GME rising. Sue calling it out right here. Good morning, Zim. Thoughts on timber has held up all week. I believe it's buyout news, if I'm not mistaken. Um, that's why it's been stuck in this like 30 cent well, I would say more like a 50 cent channel. So they have a potential buyout deal with Leo Pharma. You know how these buyouts go, right? Oh, it's 280. Well, no, it's technically 310. This is why I'm gonna be buying it. By the way, this GME is like, look at this. GME has a nice bounce here. It'll be a really good recovery. We'll see how long it holds up. See. So are they gonna play okay, back to Bodie's question. For better, you IPO'd a financing and mortgage company during when interest rates are off the charts. Nobody wants to own the stock. Okay, look up what's another one that I'll give you an example. Because I've looked into this a little bit. If you look up RKT, Rocket Mortgage Company, this is like the app everyone uses. This one's just taking a hit. This one IPO'd back in 2020. GME with some strong upside push here. So yeah, I think better is going to be a tough one. Tough one to get. I could see a rebound, because eventually shorts are going to have to cover. Shares are probably a little bit harder to borrow, so it wouldn't be a bad recovery play. Because it already hit 77 cents. Like, how low can you really go? What's the float? I mean, you got a free float of 800 mil. That makes it tougher. GME is still on the rise. Let's go. Still think that bounce is going to look sexy. VFS hit 63. Don't count out VFS. It's still on a slow and steady grind. The dollar is very silent but deadly. So, what exactly is your boy Powwow doing today? Today is the 25th. Economic outlook. Great. Wow, is he talking in... Oh, okay, so he's just giving a little speech here. That actually starts in about 25 minutes. right. NVOS 1680, 1630 has been previous support here. We do have the 500. We're now testing the 500 moving average on the We're testing the 500 EMA on the 15 minute, where we broke below the 200 on the 30, the 100 on the hourly. So we got some first support at 1560, then we got some support at 1380. Still think 1630 will be some good support here. I did see a lot of actually, sorry, I misspoke. Once you break below 17, you're going to basically catch a falling knife down to 13.65. Not a lot of volume in between there. So it could move like butter. CRKN still looking pretty good here. The dollar is still on the rise, so I think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see another slam down, especially because it's Friday, dude. That SPY candle. I'm not sure if you guys really looked at the SPY candle, but that SPY candle is tough on the daily. I mean, you're looking. If you look at that candle from some objectiveness, it just looks tough. GME still popping up here. Did hit 1693. Good little recovery here. Better's just going to be tough. 115 is good support. I still think you could definitely retest that 71 area, if not the 80s. We've seen it on plays like GNS where they'll drop it all the way down and then just let it rebound really hard. So people calling today a lotto day. I find it really suspicious. Hold up, we guys, we gotta do some research on some of these COVID plays, guys. Stocks that ran because of COVID-19. If you guys have any stocks that you know ran because of the COVID lockdowns and masks and vaccines and the whole thing, let me know. Please let me know. I need to know. I need to be looking research into this stuff. There's probably a couple of tickers out there that they're probably going to throw in from left field. I'm not saying that something's going to happen, but I was looking into some of the speak yesterday, kind of surrounding some of the what people think will happen. Hey man, the last time your boy Alex said something, it happened. GME's going for 1694. Let's take a quick look at AMC actually. AMC bounced off of 13. I'm not sure how much more people are willing to go for it. Check out McDonald's stock during cough and fart. Okay, I like that description. Actually, let me throw up the SPY here. CMRX ran. Piton RBLX ran. All right. Let's see. Well, no, that's a bit of that's general market bounce. Let's take a look. We do have a bit of a double top on McDonald's. I don't imagine McDonald's was actually a very steady climber. Did have that dip because of the market crash. That was not really it recovered very quickly. Yeah, not anything significant. I mean, everything kind of ran during the pandemic, so. All right, Piton. Let's take a look at Piton. Peloton. Oh, yeah, Peloton. That's right. Oh, that exploded. But they also. Do you think they would really. The only thing I would have to say to that is they would have to print more money. I think this time around they're gonna if they were to do it again, I feel like they would just kind of leave us out to hang. You know what I mean? The first time they kind of pretended. I think this time they're not gonna pretend. That seems very cynical, but I'm not sure if they're gonna. I think they were like. How do I say this? I think that they felt like people were ungrateful, quote unquote, of what they did. And I think this time around they're just not gonna care. I added Piton at this price for Pandemic 2.0. Dude, all I'm saying is if you look at some of the things that are being said right now, I'm not saying that they're going to do something, but it wouldn't surprise me. Because especially if I think they can feel something's brewing. They don't care. LOL. That is true, but yeah, Roblox blew up. It's a video game. That's more because people were inside a lot. Same with Peloton. CMRX, all right. Check out toilet paper company. Well, most of those companies are probably. Those are all probably owned by some large companies. Yeah, Procter and Gamble, Georgia Pacific, seventh generation. Yeah, there's some people out there saying things. I'm not saying I believe them because I've seen people kind of already blow the false flag, blow the whistle and stuff. But Kroger, that's right, dude. Kroger ran incredibly. I remember I was working at Kroger. I remember it was at 19 and it just ripped. I know a lot of employees at Kroger got low key got really wealthy. There were a couple of people that they'd been working there for 25 years, man. And when they saw that stock run, oh boy. They there were assholes that like would literally just turn from like the happiest people you've ever seen in your life. It was remarkable. I've never seen people go from being so sad to being so happy to work at a company. Because like if you work at Kroger, they spend a lot of time. Like to be fair, it's kind of smart if you ask me. But Kroger spends so much time trying to get their employees to buy their stock. They're like, we'll give you stock. They're like, we'll hand it out to you. We just want you to own it. It's actually kind of interesting. Very interesting strategy. I'm surprised like McDonald's doesn't do that. That's probably the best way to keep employees working for you. Because Kroger, like the amount of people at Kroger that I like, there were the amount of people that were working there for like 1 decade, two. There were people working there for 3.5 decades. And I was like, how? Why? Didn't you ever like consider finding another job? And they were like, why? Why would we? I remember running into the store to get toilet paper. Dude, I saw it every day. Okay? Our store manager would literally he would call us into his office and we would watch all the people scramble for toilet paper. Okay? We sounds messed up, but there were people who would fight each other. There were people who would push each other. People would get mad at each other. People would spit at each other. It was just a different time. I've never seen people act like that over toilet paper or any other random product. I did end up quitting because it was ridiculous. Our manager basically walked in and was like, "We're firing you all." I was like, he's like, "We're gonna have a meeting at the end of the day about it." And I was like, I'm not waiting I'm not. You don't walk in like I've been because I was working morning shift like really early. I probably getting there around 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, bro, you don't walk in and tell me at like what was it 6:30 in the morning that at the end of my shift I'm gonna have to have a discussion with you of whether I keep my job or not, and you're paying me minimum wage, and you can't even like give me a 10-cent pay raise because the system quote unquote takes too long. Zim, I walked out immediately, bro. I walked out immediately. The store manager was like, "Are you sure you want to do that? That's unprofessional." I'm like, "Bro, this is Kroger. This is Kroger, sir. I don't know what you're talking about." 5 minutes, my list is turning red. All right, you know what? I'm gonna find the stream because I actually do think that we should listen to this. Bro, I was like walking in at 3 o'clock in the morning. You, sir, we need to have a discussion. Yeah, Mr. Burr, Mr. Powwow, Mr. Inflate, Deflate, Debate. I don't know. The Inflate Debater. Give him some nicknames, man. Kraken fell off here. VFS is still kind of holding up here. Oh, wow. Banks had one or two green days, and they're just taking hits. Do need to take a look at Goldman Sachs here. Ooh, Goldman Sachs has been so close to just falling off of a cliff here. How many more times do you need to break below the 500 before you start to realize that this isn't a strong ticker? Okay, I'm waiting for the stream to go live. Are we gonna play it? GNS is running. Yes, sir. You're correct. 135. Did have a little bit of pop up. I didn't expect it to be hitting so hard. Oh my god! Come on, Drum. Oh no, Drum. I think they start at 7:05. If I'm not mistaken, some like weird time. I'm actually gonna take a look at the dollar in the background here. Let's see how high and how low will everything go. Hey, what's up, Henry? How you doing? Good morning, man. Walking in at the right time. Jay Powell getting ready to throw out his BS. Just waiting for them to hit the play button with the clown show. Might as well play some the Goofy Goobert or some Krusty Krab, or who's that guy from The Simpsons, the clown? I'm actually going to throw SPY up here. I want to take a look at NVIDIA while this man talks. Bore us to death? Yeah. But really, I just want to be entertained by the fact that he, about how much money he's going to lose people. Krusty, yeah. Not Krusty Krabs, just Krusty. SPY's already taking a hit. NVIDIA's taking a hit. Sideshow Bob. GNS taking a hit. What's not taking a hit? All right, the live stream is kicked up. Do you guys want me to show you the live stream, or do you want me to just play the audio?
I want to welcome you to the 2023 Jackson Hole Conference, Structural Shifts in the Global Economy. Chair Powell, the floor is yours.
That was brief.
All right, let's see how bad this.
And I know brief. Thank you, Betsy, and good morning, everyone. At last year's Jackson Hole Symposium, I delivered a brief, direct message. My remarks this year will be a bit longer, but the message is the same. It is the Fed's job to bring inflation down to our 2% goal, and we will do so. We have tightened policy significantly over the past year. Although inflation has moved down from its peak, a welcome development, it remains too high. We are prepared to raise rates further if appropriate and intend to hold policy at a restrictive level until we are confident that inflation is moving sustainably down toward our objective. Today, I will review our progress so far and discuss the outlook and the uncertainties we face as we pursue our dual mandate goals. I will conclude with a summary of what this means for policy.
Silver and gold are popping up here.
Given how far we have come at upcoming meetings, we are in a position to proceed carefully as we assess the incoming data and the evolving outlook and risks. The ongoing episode of high inflation initially emerged from a collision between very strong demand and pandemic-constrained supply. By the time the FOMC raised the policy rate in March 2022, it was clear that bringing down inflation would depend on both the unwinding of the unprecedented pandemic-related demand and supply distortions and on our tightening of monetary policy, which would slow the growth of aggregate demand, allowing supply time to catch up. While these two forces are now working together to bring down inflation, the process still has a long way to go, even with the more favorable recent readings. On a 12-month basis, U.S. total or headline PCE inflation peaked at 7% in June 2022 and declined to 3.3% as of July, following a trajectory roughly in line with global trends. The effects of Russia's war against Ukraine have been a primary driver of the changes in headline inflation around the world since early 2022. Headline inflation is what households and businesses experience most directly, so this decline is very good news. But food and energy prices are influenced by global factors that remain volatile and can provide a misleading signal of where inflation is headed. And in my remaining comments, I will focus on core PCE inflation, which omits the food and energy components. On a 12-month basis, core PCE inflation peaked at 5.4% in February 2022 and declined gradually to 4.3% in July. The lower monthly readings for core inflation in June and July were welcome, but 2 months of good data are only the beginning of what it will take to build confidence that inflation is moving down sustainably toward our goal. We can't yet know the extent to which these lower readings will continue or where underlying inflation will settle over coming quarters. 12-month core inflation is still elevated, and there is substantial further ground to cover to get back to price stability. To understand the factors that will likely drive further progress, it is useful to separately examine the three broad components of core PCE inflation: inflation for goods, for housing services, and for all other services, sometimes referred to as non-housing services. Core goods inflation has fallen sharply, particularly for durable goods, as both tighter monetary policy and the slow unwinding of supply and demand dislocations are bringing it down. The motor vehicle sector provides a good illustration. Earlier in the pandemic, demand for vehicles rose sharply, supported by low interest rates, fiscal transfers, curtailed spending on in-person services, and shifts in preference away from using public transportation and from living in cities. But because of a shortage of semiconductors, vehicle supply actually fell. Vehicle prices spiked, and a large pool of pent-up demand emerged. As the pandemic and its effects have waned, production and inventories have grown, and supply has improved. At the same time, higher interest rates have weighed on demand. Interest rates on auto loans have nearly doubled since early last year, and customers report feeling the effect of higher rates on affordability. On net, motor vehicle inflation has declined sharply because of the combined effects of these supply and demand factors. Similar dynamics are playing out for core goods inflation overall. As they do, the effects of monetary restraint should show through more fully over time. Core goods prices fell the last 2 months, but on a 12-month basis, core goods inflation remains well above its pre-pandemic level. Sustained progress is needed, and restrictive monetary policy is called for to achieve that progress. In the highly interest-sensitive housing sector, the effects of monetary policy became apparent soon after liftoff. Mortgage rates doubled over the course of 2022, causing housing starts and sales to fall and house price growth to plummet. Growth in market rents soon peaked and then steadily declined. Measured housing services inflation lagged these changes, as is typical, but has recently begun to fall. This inflation metric reflects rents paid by all tenants, as well as estimates of the equivalent rents that could be earned from homes that are owner-occupied. Because leases turn over slowly, it takes time for a decline in market rent growth to work its way into the overall inflation measure. The market rent slowdown has only recently begun to show through to that measure. The slowing growth in rents for new leases over roughly the past year can be thought of as in the pipeline and will affect measured housing services inflation over the coming year. Going forward, if market rent growth settles near pre-pandemic levels, housing services inflation should decline toward its pre-pandemic level as well, and we will continue to watch the market rent data closely for a signal of the upside and downside risks to housing services inflation. The final category, non-housing services, accounts for over half of the core PCE index and includes a broad range of services such as healthcare, food services, transportation, and accommodations. 12-month inflation in this sector has moved sideways since liftoff. Inflation measured over the past 3 and 6 months has declined, however, which is encouraging. Part of the reason for the modest decline of non-housing services inflation so far is that many of these services were less affected by global supply chain bottlenecks and are generally thought to be less interest sensitive than other sectors such as housing or durable goods. Production of these services is also relatively labor intensive, and the labor market remains tight. Given the size of this sector, some further progress here will be essential in restoring price stability. Over time, restrictive monetary policy will help bring aggregate supply and demand back into better balance, reducing inflationary pressures in this key sector. Turning then to the outlook, although further unwinding of pandemic-related distortions should continue to put some downward pressure on inflation, restrictive monetary policy will likely play an increasingly important role. Getting inflation sustainably back down to 2% is expected to require a period of below-trend economic growth, as well as some softening in labor market conditions. Restrictive monetary policy has tightened financial conditions, supporting the expectation of below-trend growth. Since last year's symposium, the 2-year real yield is up about 250 basis points, and longer-term real yields are higher as well by nearly 150 basis points. Beyond changes in interest rates, bank lending standards have tightened and loan growth has slowed sharply. Such a tightening of broad financial conditions typically contributes to a slowing in the growth of economic activity, and there is evidence of that in this cycle as well. For example, growth in industrial production has slowed, and the amount spent on residential investment has declined in each of the past 5 quarters. But we are attentive to signs that the economy may not be cooling as expected. So far this year, GDP growth has come in above expectations and above its longer-run trend. and recent readings on consumer spending have been especially robust. In addition, after decelerating sharply over the past 18 months, the housing sector is showing signs of picking back up. Additional evidence of persistently above-trend growth could put further progress on inflation at risk and could warrant further tightening of monetary policy. The rebalancing of the labor market has continued over the past year but remains incomplete. Labor supply has improved, driven by stronger participation among workers aged 25 to 54 and by an increase in immigration back toward pre-pandemic levels. Indeed, the labor force participation rate of women in their prime working years reached an all-time high in June. Demand for labor has moderated as well. Job openings remain high but are trending lower. Payroll job growth has slowed significantly. Total hours worked has been flat over the past 6 months, and the average work week has declined to the lower end of its pre-pandemic range, reflecting a gradual normalization in labor market conditions. This rebalancing has eased wage pressures. Wage growth across a range of measures continues to slow, albeit gradually. While nominal wage growth must ultimately slow to a rate that is consistent with 2% inflation, what matters for households is real wage growth. Even as nominal wage growth has slowed, real wage growth has been increasing as inflation has fallen. We expect this labor market rebalancing to continue. Evidence that the tightness in the labor market is no longer easing could also call for a monetary policy response. Turning to the path forward. 2% is and will remain our inflation target. We are committed to achieving and sustaining a stance of monetary policy that is sufficiently restrictive to bring inflation down to that level over time. It is challenging, of course, to know in real time when such a stance has been achieved. There are some challenges that are common to all tightening cycles. For example, real interest rates are now positive and well above mainstream estimates of the neutral policy rate. We see the current stance of policy as restrictive, putting downward pressure on economic activity, hiring, and inflation. But we cannot identify with certainty the neutral rate of interest, and thus there is always uncertainty about the precise level of monetary policy restraint. That assessment is further complicated by uncertainty about the duration of the lags with which monetary tightening affects economic activity and especially inflation. Since the symposium a year ago, the committee has raised the policy rate by 300 basis points, including 100 basis points over the past 7 months. And we have substantially reduced the size of our securities holdings. The wide range of estimates of these lags suggests that there may be significant further drag in the pipeline. Beyond these traditional sources of policy uncertainty, the supply and demand dislocations unique to this cycle raise further complications through their effects on inflation and labor market dynamics. For example, so far, job openings have declined substantially without increasing unemployment, a highly welcome but historically unusual result that appears to reflect large excess demand for labor. In addition, there is evidence that inflation has become more responsive to labor market tightness than was the case in recent decades. These changing dynamics may or may not persist, and this uncertainty underscores the need for agile policymaking. These uncertainties, both old and new, complicate our task of balancing the risk of tightening monetary policy too much against the risk of tightening too little. Doing too little could allow above target inflation to become entrenched and ultimately require monetary policy to wring more persistent inflation from the economy at a high cost to employment. Doing too much could also do unnecessary harm to the economy. As is often the case, we are navigating by the stars under cloudy skies. In such circumstances, risk management considerations are critical. At upcoming meetings, we will assess our progress based on the totality of the data and the evolving outlook and risks. Based on this assessment, we will proceed carefully as we decide whether to tighten further or instead to hold the policy rate constant and await further data. Restoring price stability is essential to achieving both sides of our dual mandate. We will need price stability to achieve a sustained period of strong labor market conditions that benefit all. And we will keep at it until the job is done. Thank you.
All right. Well, that was shit. Let's see how the market kind of reacted here. SPY did kind of dribble down here, then popped right back up. But as we can see here, massive selling pressure is kicking in below the 500 EMA. And this is a very, very terrible candle. We had indecisive on the way up. We tested downwards pressure. We saw some buying pressure. And now we just have some massive selling pressure. So I'd say market wasn't necessarily too happy about that. Everything that was kind of going down is continuing to go down. Everything that was kind of climbing up, taking a little bit of a pullback here. Let's take a look at VFS. Still maintaining some buying pressure. See, when recession, I don't know, bro. I have absolutely no idea. But what I will say is that man was lying through his teeth. I think everybody knows that, but no one really can do anything about it, so let's take a look at some of the other larger. Dollar dropped, popped right back up, so that's very interesting to take a look at. Might see some continuation to the downside on the dollar. Silver and gold had some pop-ups here. Treasuries also kind of went down here, popped back up, currently testing the 200 on the 30s. Yeah, no, how do you say? As far as I can tell, people were just speculating kind of the words and tone he had. He did have a very positive tone, so I think the market, that's why we saw that like pop up in the market. But I think afterwards everyone was like, yeah, this guy is he didn't say anything. Like that's what pisses me off the most is he never says anything. And the only reason people care about what he says is because people who with large money care what they say, so everyone with smaller amounts of money has to care what he says because those whales impact the market. So then everyone smaller has to go like, oh, what's he gonna say, right? Because they want to make money off of that, and he doesn't really say anything. Nobody actually listens to what he says. Everyone it's like crowding around a drunk homeless guy in the town square. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But for some reason, the local guy at the top does. So because the local guy cares, everyone else gotta care because the dude buys your corn. The dude buys like everything. So see, FFIE popped up. All right, we'll take a look at that. Up to 20, bounced off of 18. So how do you say? I think a lot of these, I'm trying to look and see what people are saying about it. No one really has anything that important to say. Because right now you got people betting See, apparently 60% believe that there's going to be a hike in interest rates. I think that's the market just being conservative, if anything. Now, if we take a look at the daily candle, it's going to be an interesting day. We clearly have this sort of trend line that the market is kind of, it doesn't seem like it has the strength to pop up. I definitely think we're going to be retesting this 431 area at one point. If not this like 434 area on the SPY. Banks actually kind of climbed and then took a bigger hit at like USB going down, CMA. CMA is doing pretty well, but it climbed up during Powell Speak. Key Corp is still going down. PACW is still going down. Wells Fargo is still going down. Zion popped up a little bit, but it's headed back down. H-Band's going down further. BMO's going down further. EWBC's going down further. Surprisingly, Seacoast, the Florida bank, is actually doing pretty well. I've always said keep an eye out on the Florida banks because they're the first ones to generally go. If you do see a recession or a market crash of some sort, generally it's the Floridians who get impacted the most. So I think that's kind of something that we got to keep an eye out on. Charles Schwab taking a little bit of hits. If I take a look at I want to take a look at Goldman Sachs here real quick. Goldman Sachs is once again getting really close to that trend line. And it's having some selling pressure. We do see some buying pressure come back in. I think the market's enjoying themselves with teasing some of the day traders and the option traders with Goldman Sachs. But the SPY is now just taking a massive hit here. Could be because the dollar is on the rise. Yeah, the dollar just is shooting up. Wow, the dollar is shooting up. The dollar is on a rally. This means the rest of the market is probably going to take some hits here. We can clearly see that indicated in some of the price action. That's not good for Goldman Sachs because if the dollar keeps rising and we break that trend line here on Goldman Sachs, you're gonna have a hard drop here. NVIDIA didn't really do all that much. I would say it kind of curbed some of the movements from the SPY. I think the SPY had a larger bands. So that's something that was kind of interesting to keep an eye out on. By the way, Nikola is up today, hit 141. LQR also popped up today. I think people are realizing probably the best way to go right now is to just head to the depths of the market and trying to play around, make some money here or there. But yeah, I didn't really see anything too significant. Actually, let's take a look at AMC and GME. Let's see how they reacted to everything. AMC didn't really do all that much. Let's take a look. Maybe GME took a bit of a hit here. Now GME kind of popped back down underneath that 500. Conwell, SPY about to dump hard, you think? Do I think see hourly setup? I said this morning I thought that the SPY was going down. Okay, because if you're looking at candle action, yesterday's price action was terrible for the SPY. I think if you want to move up in the SPY, you need to retest the 433, 431 area. That 430 low 430s, you need to retest that again if you do want to move up. You're in a trend. You already tried to break out of that trend, failed, so you're going to need a little bit of extra juice. You have the dollar rising right now. It is shooting up pretty hard. So yes, I think the SPY is probably going to see some hits here. You're probably going to be retesting support, especially with that dollar move. Like, that dollar move is big, right? If the dollar moves up, treasuries move up. If treasuries start, oh no, treasuries actually didn't move all that much. Surprisingly, yeah. See, gold and silver taking hit. I mean, everything's gonna. If you like, this move on the dollar, like, you're, because you had some massive buying pressure kick in there. I don't know how sustainable this pop up on the dollar will be, though. So, well, bro, I'm not gonna be I'm not telling you to buy or sell. Not financial advice, by the way. I'm just I already gave you some support levels. Nikola taking some hits. HE still continuing to drop down. Man, even oil's taking a hit. Yeah, okay, we're seeing a slowdown in the pop-up on the dollar. But that was a strong move. CDTX just flew. Oh, wow, it did, yeah. Strong volume, probably some shorts covering. See, because you're now getting an indecisive candle on the SPY downward, so then flew down. Well, looking a little froggy. 36 is the first support level on the SPY. Then you got 33, and then you got 430. See, the SPY did reject the 2-hour 500. The 4-hour 500. I think you still need to retest the 4-hour 500. I think the 100 431 on the daily is something that you want to keep an eye out on. You do still have daily momentum towards the downside, and you still got that trend line. So, because this candle is a hard rejection of the breakout on that. Yeah, it's a hard rejection of the breakout on this in this trend, right? And to be honest, this was a bear flag right here. So, and if you're looking at this setup, everything looks bearish about it. Unless you're getting a piece of news coming out, like, the dollar is still going higher. You do still some buying pressure here, so. All right, back with some coffee, guys. Sorry. Should have said something before I left. Let's take a look here. Okay, dollar's rejection of a push up higher. Still hitting some highs here with a bit of supply. SPY did turn red for a brief moment here. GNS coming back down and test some support. LQR continuing its pop up here, 130. Currently trading at 125. VFS currently trading at 56.92. GME 16.66. Let me drink some holy water. Wash the bad juju away. VFS not doing all too much. DFLI. GME does seem like it's still ready for a pop-up here. Okay, yep, dollar's getting ready for another move here. Let me. Yeah, we're definitely running into some hard resistance here. I'm gonna need to let the market cool off for a little bit. Some big moves just came in. LQR still moving up higher. 127 is in store. Looking for a push past the high of the day. 130. GME now moving up into the 69 area. Hit. Yep, SPY's going to... Indecisive price move down. No surprise there. Dollar is cooling off a little bit. Let's actually take a look at treasuries here. Treasuries didn't move as much. They did just move now, popping up. Okay, so now we got the cavalry. Dollar rose. Then you had the treasuries pop up here. Silver and gold are headed on their way down. Silver completely rejecting the Fibonacci level. Here we go again. Another retest. Beautiful. Hourly actually looks pretty good. 4 hours still looks pretty good. Probably going to see a retest of that 2350 area. We are still above the 200 on the silver. Yeah, we have some support levels down below. LQR rejecting the resistance at 125. Zim, I'm pinning your when recession question because that's a good question, man. if I take a look at some of the larger, like we got silver and we got gold, silver heading down. We got banks heading down. What about oil? How's oil doing? Oil bounced off of the 200 yesterday. We do see some selling pressure into the move up today, so not very strong. We did kind of recover on some of those candles. I mean, we're still not done for the day, so it'll be interesting to watch. SPY has now officially turned red. 436. 36 is a key support here. If you break 36, like because see, you tested it pre-market, and then back here you tested it during the day. You kind of fell right through it. Then you bounced off of it. So this is your first time retesting it. You're retesting 436 as support after breaking it once. So if you break this again, 436 ain't looking so tough no more. And if that's the case, you could easily be heading down lower. TD, by the way. See, I think someone took like a massive 5.2 million. See, if SPY breaks back into the 35s, that'll be interesting. Someone took like a massive short position on TD. Excuse me. They took it at around 59. It's currently trading at 57. So you took 5.2 million. So every dollar is a million, or 5.2 million. So that, and you put in like 312 million. If you're putting in 312 million on a trade, right? And you take that by, I mean, you want to be making at least 5 million off of it, right? So if you take a 10% cut, that's like 30 mil. Probably got some commissions that you're paying. So hold up, let me check this out. So if you do, because you want to make it worth your while, you're not taking a quarter billy position on a shorting the bank for no reason. That's just not how that works. Because right now you'll be up 2.5%, which would be 2.5% would probably be around 6 million. No, it's around 8 million. So whoever took that position's up about 8 milli. Probably want to be, yeah, you could easily get out. You could easily grab 30 million off that trade. Looking at the line in the charts, down 10%, you break that previous support line. I mean, the pressure on it must be ridiculous, right? You do have a interesting. Did they move? No, because you had terrible earnings. Yeah, you had a buyback, but who really gives a shit? There we go. SPY breaking into the 35s. Oh my God. Holy crap. When was this? This was back in 22. Wow, you could see a massive move. You're already starting to see it. You're above the daily on the 200 EMA. You got strong buying pressure. Wow, you could see a massive move on the dollar here. Treasuries still look a little weak though. Did bounce, the 10-year did bounce. 30-year not so much, but 30-year is always a bit slower. Kind of catches up. It lets all the other treasuries kind of make their move. I think we've probably seen some of these banks probably take most of their hits throughout the day. NVIDIA's just dropping off a cliff here. 457, down $50 since its high yesterday. Almost $60 now. Wow. Well, Jay Powell plugged the market up, probably because his booty hole was tightening up when he was talking, but he drank some coffee and he letting everything run out. Too much Taco Bell last night. I still think it's kind of crazy. You got the dollar and treasuries both moving up at the same time. That really indicates to me. And you got gold and silver moving up, you got the dollar moving up, and you got treasuries moving up. If you got all three of those moving up, stocks are screwed. Why would you invest in all-time highs in stocks when you can wait for pullbacks and then jump into commodities as well as treasuries and the dollar? I mean, it's just smart investments, right? Most of those commodities are oversold. Plus, you have increase in interest rates. Still a possibility, right? Real estate is not offering you the returns you really want. It's just not the case whatsoever. Especially if you got oil popping back up the way a lot of people are speculating it will, you're going to be taking hits. Man, my timing with Apple was off by like a couple of weeks. I should have gone longer on time frame on that. I would have hit so hard on Apple. Especially because no one really has the balls to short Apple. Not saying that I do. Because I actually flunked out of my position early. Because I was scared. I need a little bit of a longer time frame. Plus, I should have recognized that like the SPY was at resistance as well. Like it's not going much higher. Let's take a look at some of these. Kraken's chart is just being kind of retarded. So SPY is just knifing down, bro. NVIDIA as well. Especially if NVIDIA takes this much of a hit, not only in price but in confidence, that's not going to be good for the rest of the market. NVIDIA was essentially the only ticker that was holding up the market. Apple as well, but Apple is like, that's already that's obvious. What about MVOS? Most of the market is red today. What about TTOO? Also red. No, slightly green. Did bounce off of this support line. Hold up. I don't know. TTOO is still sort of in this triangle. Could easily be a breakdown here if you can't sustain that 500, which is where exactly? If you can stay above 37.58, that's really good for TTOO. If not, you're definitely heading down lower. HE is just going to get dropped even further. They're not going to let up on that. Too easy of a short. Whoa. Western Alliance, what are you doing? TTOO is still holding some good buying pressure. I think you could definitely see a recovery to the 38s from here. I haven't looked at today's chart yet, but if you collect some of that momentum, you definitely could get back to 38, maybe even the 39s if you're lucky. NVIDIA seems like the push down has been slowed down. The dollar is still moving, man. What about treasuries? Treasuries still following up? DFLI is up 4.5%. Does it have volume? Could, if it passes 162, you could see a nice little pop up. TTOO just getting slammed down here. Yeah, I thought it could maintain that. If you can maintain some buying pressure on TTOO, you still be looking good on it. DFLI. Yeah, you need a little bit more volume there. NVIDIA's still going lower. Dollar won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Dollar is breaking out of the boil band, so. Wow. I guess that's good news. I mean, if the dollar's going up, it means your purchasing power is stronger, but I don't know how long that will last because it's already been beaten down so much. I'm actually in Euro USD futures right now. Oh, okay. What's up, Midga? How you doing, bro? You're in. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So you taking you shorting it right now, I'd assume. I'll tell you this: long-term dollar looks pretty good. So, especially because Powell didn't. One thing he pretty much did say is he's the cutting of rates is not in the cards as of right now. So if that's the case, that means that treasuries and dollars going to be moving up. Just the micro still learning. Can I ask what time frame? Hourly, 15, 5, 3 minute? Are you doing daily? That would probably be a little risky, to be honest. Because on the daily, you just broke below the 200 EMA. I'm doing this on my trading view, by the way. The euro just broke below the 200 euro USD broke below the 200 EMA. Downwards momentum. 5 minute. All right. Yep, you just broke below the 200 as well. You are outside of boil bands right now, so that's something to kind of keep an eye on. You're a little oversold. I would say very oversold, but the dollar is essentially, the euro is just like shorting the dollar if you really think about it, or it's just buying the dollar. So Europe is in absolute chaos, so that's not that hard of a short, man. Europe kind of sucks. Trust me, as a European immigrant, their economy is shot to shit. They don't do anything. Their regulations are terrible. They can't produce anything. You can't keep any of your money, right? The only people who hold the euro is the government, and the government just does the same thing what America does, just print money. They don't understand financial policy. They're way too concerned about green energy, right? They'd rather watch their own citizens starve than actually be, I don't know, decent human beings. They'd rather culturally screw them up. They'd rather religiously screw them up. They have no understanding of how to build a society, right? I know that you're trading on the 5 minutes, so you don't care about, like, you might not care about this type of stuff, but if you guys haven't already, I'm sure, Sue, I'm not sure if you know about this. Look up the Belgium, Netherlands, German Tri-City. Look that up, bro. You want to learn about Europe? Right there, you'll learn about Europe. Wow, the dollar might break, or the SPY might break into the 34s here. Did see some good buying pressure on TTOO. GNS bouncing off of the 48. SPY 3501. NVDA does see some buying pressure right now. We are a bit oversold. I believe so. I'm not fully up to date with TTOO, but I do know that I think you just want to wait for some consolidation. You are seeing a slowdown of volume on the euro and US dollar on the way down. So that kind of means same thing for the dollar. Although there's no volume data on the dollar. I apologize. That was in misinformation. Oil's not looking great either. Yeah, I think that's what most people thought, but as far as how you say it, it's one of those things, right? If you're speculating on the news of FDA like approval, if it does get approved, you're going to $6. So the risk to reward is pretty in your favor. Plus, if they don't announce it today or tomorrow, sure, you'll see a sell off, but that just offers more buying opportunity. They will either exterminate us or have us locked in these places if we let them. Oh no, yeah, they will 100%. They're just coming up with the modern feudal system. But here, I do really want you guys to know about this. Because not enough people know about this. Okay, I'm switching over my if you guys have not seen this picture before, do some research, man. Do some research. All right? You think this is some conspiracy theory? It's not, okay? All you got to do is look at the immigration policy. Look at what they're doing to the farmers in the Netherlands, what they're trying to do to the farmers in Germany, what they're trying to do to the farmers in Brussels, okay? This is something that you have to be aware of, okay? Especially if you're trading within the market. You have to be aware of something like this. Okay, they basically, what they want to do is they want to turn the Netherlands into a trade hub and want to connect Germany and Belgium into this larger city, right? They basically want to get rid of the farmland in this area. By the way, Netherlands, and I am patting my country, my immigrant country on the back here. Some of the best farmers in the world, relative to, how do you say, relative to land versus production. Netherlands is probably one of the most efficient countries out there. As well as farming technology, one of the largest industries in the Netherlands is exporting farmers' technology and knowledge, right? China, the United States, Brazil, South Africa, India, all of these nations go to the Netherlands to learn how to farm. So if you don't know about that, look it up. Look up Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, Tri-City. Okay, SPY bouncing up here, no surprise. It was very oversold. Oh yeah, like this is also another thing a lot of people don't realize is that the news that you don't receive is insane. You're focused on American news or European news. Bro, look at South American news. South America is in complete disarray right now. They won't tell you, but it is. South America is in absolute chaos. which could also be a good buying opportunity if you're still planning on trading the market. I think South America, if they get their shit in order, I think they could potentially be one of the best economies to invest in within the 21st century outside of Africa and India. Africa is a whole different story. Generally, I don't like talking about it because it gets a little emotional sometimes. And I only like discussing that topic with people who have sort of an objective or can have an objective viewpoint on that topic. Not a lot of people get like that topic. Plus, it's very dark. Let me put it that way. That sounded bad, but you know what I mean. It gets messy. NKLA popping up here, bouncing off that 48. We need to create our own new countries. Well, yeah, I mean, all you got to go do is look at the history of borders in Africa and in the Middle East, man. And people are like, yeah, everybody knows that. Yeah, that's true, but how do you say no one does anything to change? Well, that's not true. There have been people who've tried to change it, and let me just say, we like to spread freedom there, because democracy is numero uno. Like there's a lot of man. Plus, I think, I'm not sure if this is true because I've only seen this on like Twitter, and let's be real here, Twitter, as useful as it can be, it's also filled with bots and misinformation. From what I can see, we do have some interesting developments within the relations of Africa. So hopefully it doesn't get too crazy for their sake, for the citizens' sake. War is never a good thing. Generally, it is just a bunch of elite people angry at one another for egotistical reasons, where young people get sucked into it for reasons that few people can articulate with logic. But how do you say? Once it starts, you gotta let it play out, because very few people have the wherewithal and the internal strength to lay down their weapons and understand the matrix that kind of operates within that system. But because the sad part is, okay, well, I will talk a little bit about Africa. What I will say is the sad part about Africa is Africa could potentially be one of the greatest ports of economy in the world. But nobody wants that to happen. China doesn't want that to happen. India doesn't want that to happen. Europe doesn't want that to happen. America doesn't want that to happen. Right? Even South America, bro. Like, the only reason South America is given an opportunity is because basically the United States and China have basically declared South America as an economic war zone. It's just, the amount of arbitrage that occurs in South America is crazy. They're all those countries are pawns in a massive game. Which does truly suck. Like, I think like And sure, this would, if you want to go down this road, right, it would suck for America economically speaking. I'm not even gonna deny that. Like, oh, this sort of like fairy tale of like, well, what if Africa and South America get their shit together? What if India gets their shit together? Right? Not necessarily. They're not. They don't have their shit together necessarily because they don't want to get their shit together. I'm not saying that either. Countries are corporations. Oh yeah, 100%. Why do why do you think they're working so hard to collect taxes? Because that's their profit. Their profit is you, baby. This is why I think it's crazy people who argue for higher taxes. Better does have some good momentum here. Could be interesting. Recovery is good. You do see some good buying pressure. Maybe a pop to 150s in play. Trying to break over the 48 on the 5. Or they will make you drink hot dog water. P71, what's up, bro? Or they make you drink hot dog water. Look, man, I'll tell you this. If the Middle East has taught you anything, do not underestimate the capabilities of guerrilla warfare. Afghanistan should teach you a lot about the world. Okay? Americans and the rest of the world doesn't really look into it, but Afghanistan tells you, Iraq, or what the Middle East has done should tell you a lot about this world. A lot of corruption everywhere. That's the nature of things go, right? And people who are like, "Oh, we should give the government more money and let them dictate where it goes and where it doesn't go." Bro, basically that's like being in a room of 20 people, throwing a gun in the middle of the room and going, I hope the good guy gets it. Like, what? That's not going to happen. It's like Lord of the Flies, okay? If you throw power into the middle of a room with people standing there, right? It's not the good guy who walks out of that room. It's not. And that's what giving the government money is. You're basically praying, you're crossing your fingers going, I hope the good guy gets it. Like, what? Get out of here. Right, like Jay Powell. Like we just listened to Jay Powell say absolutely nothing for 15 minutes. Right, there's a reason for that because the guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He doesn't know what in the hell he's doing. All like to no end, man. But back to my point with India, South America, and China. If those countries developed economically, it would suck for the United States. The United States would have to go through a period of massive economic reform, right? In fact, most of the economy that America currently has is basically just the gas fumes of loans handed out to Europe and various other countries after World War II. And because we thought we could solely rely on our economic or our banking system and financial services, that for some reason we could just basically prop up an economy that isn't real. Africa is coming together. They no longer want to help other nations use them. BRICS will destroy America and Europe's economy. I'm just glad they decided to stand up. Yep. Look, OA knows this. OA, you know this. I hope that happens. I really hope that happens because I think it's crazy that like it's not crazy. It's not crazy if you understand how people work, but I think it is a little bit ridiculous that like you have this massive intelligence arbitrage of keeping economic mobility down. Also, Africa's playing in moving. They're moving things. I don't agree with all their shit because I've seen some shit where I'm like, "Yo, fam, what are you doing?" But just in general for the people, you know. But what I will also say is that I'm not naive to the fact that, how do you say, it's a spinning wheel, and if someone else gets the upper hand, same thing, different logo. That will not surprise me whatsoever. So I'm not saying that it's going to be a picture perfect world. All I'm saying is that if you put your brain power together, you can make things happen. Shake up the world, roll the dice. Why not? Because I'll tell you this right now, America has a lot more to lose than any other country in this world at this moment. And Europe's already on the downside. Europeans are just idiots, bro. I'm sorry. Europe are just filled with idiots. And I don't necessarily mean the people. I mean like just because, and this is from personal experience, okay? I went to school there for a year and a half, and I dropped out, okay? Because I looked around and I was like, wow, these guys are idiots, right? They were talking about like they were so morally, they had such a moral superior, like how do you say this? They had like their moral superiority complex was off the charts. They were straight up just talking about socialism in their classes, right? They were like, well, you know, when you get into the business world, like we're not going to focus on profits and products and actually providing service. What we want to do is we want to basically we want to change the world in every which way possible because we think we know better. Like what? Get out of here. You don't even conceptualize. Like I just knew too much to take that shit seriously, bro. It would be wise for us to come together because America and Europe cannot win that war. Yeah, bro, but that's ego, man. It's just pure ego. It's nothing else. Okay? Because like if how do you say? Most people haven't done research into the BRICS. Okay? Just most people haven't. Okay? I guarantee you if we had a serious discussion about should America join BRICS, right? First of all, I'm not even sure if they would let us join, but let's say we took that discussion seriously, right? We obliged to some of the demands. Now, people wouldn't like that. I get that. That's why it's not happening. But I'm just saying, let's say a dream world occurred, right? The misty fog rolled in, and we decided to like consider that. All I would say to that is like it wouldn't necessarily be that terrible of an idea. We would kind of have to bend over to China, which, I mean, let's be real. We're already doing that. Our politicians started doing that 40 years ago. Let's not even lie to ourselves. Right? So, what? We're concerned about something that's already happened? Like, come on. And I'm not saying I like it either, okay? I'm not saying I like any of this. I'm just saying this is the you're playing a poker game. This is the hand we're dealt with, All right. And I know some of you guys in this chat right now may be a little bit older. Some of you are a lot older than me, and that's fair, right? So, how do you say, you've already played your hand throughout life, right? I probably, hopefully, have a little bit more time at the table, and I'm saying I'm looking at the game long term, right? I got a pile of chips. I'm looking at the game long term. Some of the people my age, they don't give a crap about that. Fair enough. They don't even want to consider any of this, right? But I'm an individual who gravitates towards that type of stuff, of just like looking at this. This like for, and I'll here, this is like, for example, I'm sure some of you guys watched the debate. I'm sure some of you guys watched some clips of the debate or whatever, the Republican debate. You know what my one takeaway is, the conversation was like we were back in the 2000s or the 1990s. People like bringing up old topics that like they were like, yo, we need to fix this. Right? It's like, bro, what are you talking about? This is 2023, right? Chris Christie was like, you're a Chat GPT. Bro, Chat GPT is taking over the world, right? NVIDIA gained half $1 trillion of value within a 3-month period. What are we talking about here? Like, You've never had a company gain that much valuation so quickly. Apple didn't even do it. Okay, Apple took however long to do that. NVIDIA just tore up the market, and we're making fun of people using ChatGPT. Come on, well, like seriously, well, what are we doing here? We can't even take the reality of issues seriously. Let alone fix them. GNS popped back up here, still using the 13 EMA. Volume slowing down. Kind of look like it's not going to break past like 132. I could be wrong here. Excuse me. But yeah. GOEV moving. All right, let's take a look. Pyro was calling this out earlier. 53 cents. Yeah, he called it out. When did he call this out? I think he called it out 44. No. He was calling out earlier this week. Yeah, he called out on Monday, didn't he? Yeah, I think he called out Monday. SPY making a climb back up. NVIDIA kind of popping up here. All right. So dollar took a bit of a hit here. Yep. Euro made good. Euro's popping up. Dollar needs to retest some supports. Momentum kind of going down on the 5-minute. Probably going to see a retest. So silver and gold trying to collect that momentum back up. Treasuries looking weaker and weaker right now. Cano Health popping up. TTO is still just let's take a look. I'm still keeping an eye on APT, man. Something about this move on APT is like worries the crap out of me. We're looking at NVDA. Apple with a recovery, Microsoft with a recovery. Cano goes V. Well, on this longer term time frame, yeah, we also got housing purchases just falling off of a cliff, man. Nobody wants to buy a house. I think it'll probably even go lower. Especially if you got Airbnbs thrown out there. Airbnbs are going to wreck this market, bro. Actually, speaking of Airbnb, let's take a look at Airbnb. I need to look at the fundamentals of this company. I doubt it. Airbnb is the definition of a terrible company to invest in. Because let's be real here. How much of their property, they don't own any of their property. The people who use Airbnb own the property. When does, actually, this is, we got to keep an eye on this company. They had earnings. GOEV is still popping up here. Currently running into 55, which is the 200 EMA on the 4-hour. Airbnb could be a good bounce here, but you are under the 500. Momentum is pretty weak as well. I think people are kind of aware of what's about to happen with Airbnb. Wouldn't surprise me. No, I think you could possibly see a move on Cano up to 45. I think that'll be a little bit, that'd be pushing it. I think GOEV is probably going to have to take a little bit of a breather here. Man, the moves that the SPY is making relative to the dollar right now is getting a little bit more intense. Because the dollar dropped, SPY followed by popping up pretty hard. Dollar kind of stopped dropping, SPY drops. Probably because, and even treasuries are kind of slowing down. It's probably just a bit of a pullback, actually. Let me look at the 4 hour here. Yeah, I think treasuries are just coming down to retest some of those EMAs. If I look at the daily. Ooh, that would be a tough retest. I'm not sure if we're gonna retest all the way down there. I think that would be a little too much, especially if they're kind of open ending, continuous rates, right? Because you got a lot of banks selling treasuries right now, trying to grab liquidity. A lot of people are like, "Oh, people are buying treasuries." Yeah, only the people who can afford it, and banks can't afford it. So all right, guys, I'll be right back in about 5 or 10 minutes. I'm gonna take a quick walk outside, just get some fresh air. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Just got something to eat real quick as well. All right, let's take a look. Where are we at? Today is Friday, so you know people are probably gonna pack up their chairs a little earlier today. Understandable. Head down to the bar, grab yourself a beer. I would as well. Man, I can't talk about anything on YouTube, bro. What is this? Come on, get out of here with this weird ass. There ain't nothing wrong with my Wi-Fi, bro. There ain't nothing wrong with my computer, YouTube. I know what you're doing. I see you doing it. Don't pretend like it's not happening. This is ridiculous. Maybe I should just go full-time Rumble, bro. This is ridiculous, man. There it is. UBS considers selling their bonds, which would increase treasury yields. They've probably already done it. I don't know why they'd be releasing news about it. Talk the talk, walk the walk, yada, yada, yada. SPY making a bounce. NVIDIA heading further. 450 current support. $36.71. Seeing that recovery, potentially need the 38 on T2. NVIDIA currently 450.24 is the low. Let's take a quick look at the dollar here. SPY's going back down, probably most likely because of NVIDIA. Dollar is also popping back up, so you got very closely linked. At this rate, is basically just the same price action, but just inverse. Okay, T2 taking a bit of a hit here. Is the stream acting up? If the stream's acting up, like I'm gonna end it because I'm getting really sick and tired of this obvious YouTube BS, bro. It's good? Okay. Thanks, Sue. Almost make me want to shake my head. Oh no. I'm not ending. I just want to make sure the stream doesn't start acting all weird the entire time. Because then it's just cutting out, and then it's not worth being up here. But no, VFS, by the way, popping past, hitting 66, going past that previous high of 63. I'm not gonna end, bro. Yeah, I think so, but I think that's also just because the YouTube was cutting out, so everyone was like, I don't want to, like, that's what I'm saying. Oh, YouTube stream acting up. I think we all know why it was acting up, but that's also a lesson for me, once again, to be quiet. But it's so fun to talk about certain things. Finger looks good, man. You see that sort of that bounce off of there? Maybe needs a little bit more volume, but you know, I still wouldn't rule out FNGR. Yeah, I know. I'll be quiet, Sue. I'll be quiet. Oh, god damn it. Yes, I'm eating my steak, good sir. Oh my god, I love when you put rosemary on a steak. I think rosemary is one of the best spices out there. Nothing can beat pepper and salt, though. I'm probably gonna make. Oh, I already know what I'm gonna have for lunch, man. I'm gonna make myself with some toast. I'm gonna go collect some eggs from the chickens. I'm gonna go make some eggs, toast the toast, put a little bit of cream cheese on the toast, then put eggs on top of the cream cheese and toast, then put a little bit of sriracha on top of the eggs, throw in a lot of pepper, a tad bit of salt, not too much. I'm not sure if we have bacon. I might add bacon. I think we have some, like, we gotta have some bacon. Could you imagine being a guy who bought NVIDIA at $500? You're already down 5% on your position. That would be rough. No, Rite Aid's gonna file bankruptcy. Come on, Rite Aid, you're better than this. Rite Aid was the first stock I invested in. Come on, Rite Aid. What a disappointment. Good thing I never held this position. Okay, where's the SPY? Let me take a look at the SPY. I'm gonna go into deep analyzation mode for a minute. Yeah, nothing new. You don't got the balls, SPY. You don't got the cojones. All right, guys. I know it's early. It's only like 9 o'clock here. It's only like halfway through the day, but I I don't know what's going on, but the connection's acting up for various reasons. Even on my end, when I do stuff, it's bleeding over. I check the router and all this type of stuff. It's not really working out. So I'm going to end the stream early today. It's Friday. It's a weekend. You know, there's not going to be much movement, right? Take a look at the dollar, right? We already had some big moves in the morning. I'm sure there's going to be some big moves towards the end of the day. I think the SPY is going to continue heading down. So I'm going to end the stream early today. I hope you guys all have a good weekend. I'll catch you guys Monday morning. I will most likely pull back some of the things I'm saying because, and this is not just a coincidence, it seems like every single time I say something that's a little bit out of line, the I don't know what happens, but the connection starts acting up. It's almost every time. So Monday,